I am absolutely thrilled to walk you through today's topic because we're looking at one of the most incredible veteran redemption stories of this entire postseason. We are breaking down Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Semifinals, and let me tell you, it's an absolute masterclass in handling pressure. Think about this for a second. How does a 17-year veteran, someone who has literally been in the playoffs every single year of his career, how does he silence his absolute loudest critics in just 90 seconds? The pressure on James Harden coming into this moment was just immense. Let's trace exactly how he went from a terrible start in the series to delivering an absolute dagger. Part 1. A veteran's playoff struggles. To really understand the triumph here, we have to look at the tension. The Cavs acquired this seasoned veteran at the trade deadline to provide a steady hand next to Donovan Mitchell, right? But games 1 and 2 in Detroit were disastrous. 11. That is an agonizing number. Through those first 2 losses, Harden accumulated 11 turnovers. For a player brought in specifically to be a stabilizing force, giving the ball away that many times is deeply concerning. And then you have 9. He only made 9 field goals across that entire span. Just let that sink in for a moment. He had more turnovers than made shots. He shot a dismal 32% overall, including a brutal 1 for 11 from three-point range. In Game 2 alone, he scored just 10 points on 3 of 13 shooting. The playoff chatter, yeah, it was getting incredibly loud.
Part 2. Detroit forces a clutch situation.
So we shift our focus to Game 3. Cleveland desperately needs a win, but Detroit erases a massive 16-point halftime deficit. Suddenly they force a high-anxiety fourth quarter. And this is why the stakes were so incredibly high. Going into this moment, the Pistons had 4 clutch playoff wins, the absolute most in the entire NBA. And the Cavs, 4 clutch playoff losses, also the most in the league. The Cavs had faltered in exactly these moments, while the Pistons thrived. Talk about terrifying. Part 3. 90 seconds of vintage Harden. Okay, the scene is set. Cleveland is clinging to a fragile 3-point lead against Cade Cunningham's 27-point triple-double. Just a minute and 29 seconds left on the clock. It is literally make or break. At 1:29 remaining, Harden drives, pulls up for a 15-foot step-back jumper, and nails it, lead to 5. But Cunningham answers with a huge dunk. So what does Harden do? He gets right back into the lane and sinks a gorgeous floater. Cunningham isn't done, though. He hits a massive 3, cutting the lead to 2. And then, with 25.9 seconds remaining, Harden reaches deep into his bag for a 25-foot step-back three-pointer. Bang! The absolute dagger. Yes, 7 points in the final 90 seconds. This was an absolute masterclass. Harden scored 9 points in the final period overall, finishing the game with 19 points, 7 assists, and critically, only 3 turnovers. Together with Mitchell, they sparked a 10-5 closing run to secure a massive 116-109 victory, cutting Detroit's series lead to 2-1. Part 4. Trust between star teammates. Now, Donovan Mitchell had an incredible night himself, scoring 35 points, but down the stretch, Mitchell gladly deferred to his backcourt partner. His quote really says it all. He said, "Because he's James Harden, having the ultimate trust in him and vice versa, I think is why those moments happen." Even after Harden's terrible start, Mitchell defended him. That right there is rock-solid belief between 2 star players. And the validation came straight from the top, too. Coach Kenny Atkinson noted exactly what we saw on the court, stating, "It's the James Harden I've seen for how many years he's been in the NBA. We needed it tonight." What really stands out here is Atkinson praising the multi-level scoring ability. The jumper, the floater, the three-pointer, it was the complete package. Part 5. Silencing the playoff chatter. Harden's initial struggles had absolutely reignited questions about his playoff history. Despite making the postseason every single year of his 17-season career, he hasn't won a championship. But his reaction post-game, it showed total veteran maturity. He said chatter is going to be chatter regardless, doing whatever it takes to win the game. He emphasized that his job now is simply understanding what needs to be done. Give him the ball in the fourth, and he takes advantage, just singular focus. So, the crucial question remains, can this clutch 90-second performance finally be the spark that propels James Harden to his first NBA championship? He proved he can still tap into that vintage magic when his back is completely against the wall. Has this series just been flipped on its head? I don't know about you, but I literally cannot wait to see what happens in Game 4. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.